Did you know that 30% of college savings are in 529 plans? This blew my mind. That means on average, Americans save $26,783 in their 529 accounts. But with the growing cost of college education, parents are struggling to find ways to finance their children's education, in their futures for that matter. So why 529 plans? Why is that the way to go? So that's what I'm gonna cover in today's video. Why do people think 529 plans are the almighty when it comes to college savings? On average, parents save $5,143 annually for their kids' college. 86% of all the families out there save in some way for their kids' college, to help their kids with college. They might not fund all of it, but at least some. That's a lot of lazy cash. Think about how much money that is just sitting around waiting for kids to go to school. That gets me thinking, what's the alternative? Well, the best way to find out is, let's look at what the wealthy do. I'll tell you this, it isn't where you think it is. So before we dive into that, I want to make sure right now that you hit this little button, that subscribe button. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Oh, look at someone's getting excited. Right above, there's a little bell. Why don't you smash that bell? That will notify you every time we put a new video up. Now that we got the important stuff out of the way, first, let's find out what a 529 plan is and why so many Americans trust it. Let me transition back to a time many moons ago. I will tell you, in the 16 years that I spent doing the advisory work as a financial advisor, 529 plans were the plans that we recommended people put their money into. So what is a 529 plan? Well, it's a tax-advantaged savings plan designed to help pay for educational expenses, but we need to really quantify educational expenses. You see, these plans are sponsored by states, state agencies, or educational institutions. Ding, ding, ding. The key points about 529 plans are the tax benefits. So first off, it's tax-free growth. And the withdrawals, as long as they're used for qualified educational expenses, that's the key word, they can be used with tax-advantaged dollars. And then there's the investment options. Most 529 plans offer a potential for high returns with stock market-based investments. Oh yeah, of course, that's what the money goes into. Mutual funds back in my day, but today it might be ETFs. Heck, I don't know, some 529s might even allow you to put money into individual stocks, but we didn't have those back in my day. So because they're also state sanctioned, there's state tax advantages. And there's also possible state tax deductions for contributions depending on the state. If you put money into a New York 529 plan, you get a deduction on the state level for the contributions into that 529, but that means your kid's got to go to a New York college. See how that works? You can't send them off to a college in Chicago if you're doing a 529 plan that's giving you tax advantages. Now, what types of 529 plans are there? Well, there's education savings plans, which could be used for various future education costs, and prepaid tuition plans. There's also beneficiary flexibility. In other words, you can change the beneficiaries. You can use it for multiple children, and if they don't spend all the money, well, you can always go back to school. Wouldn't you just love to go back to school at the age of 60? Now, there are ways you can roll it into a qualified retirement plan, and there's different things that they've come up with for that, but it's always just kicking the can down the line. Some of the plans, you can use them for other things, not just college. There's other programs that you can use for K through 12 tuition, maybe private school, or, I love this, apprenticeship programs. You can also use 529 plans to help pay down those pesky student loan payments. You can use up to $10,000 to help repay a beneficiary's student loans, and an additional $10,000 for each sibling's student loans. So there's no reason you shouldn't be able to use the money. But if you can't, there's also a Roth IRA rollover. So you can roll the money from the 529 into a Roth IRA after 15 years with a lifetime cap of $35,000. So now you're like, oh, this is all sounding great. Yeah, and it's also open to all contributors. I mean, anybody for that matter can contribute, not just parents or close relatives. Heck, Jordan right here can contribute to Vivi's college. I doubt he's going to, but he could. But he's got his own kids' college to save for. Getting started, it's easy to set up. It's got potential for tax advantages in your home state especially. And you can evaluate the investment options and look at them very carefully. Now that you're familiar with 529 plans, let's look at some alternatives. Where do the wealthy put their money? Well, I can certainly tell you, and I knew this as an advisor, one of the places that the wealthy put their money for college savings, but also for everything else, is specially designed and engineered whole life insurance policies. And they would use it the same way we teach with the infinite banking concepts. Think about it this way. A lot of people take out college loans. And I know it's a big problem. Matter of fact, it's about to be a really big problem because October of 2023, less than a month from today, everybody's gonna have to start making their college loan payments again. So when those start, yes, you can use 10,000 bucks of your 529 to pay them down. But what if you were to have saved money in a specially designed whole life insurance policy, and then you took a loan from the policy and you paid off your college loans or paid down your college loans? And when you paid them down or paid them off, you took the difference of what you used to give the college loan payments, and you paid those college loan payments, not to them, but back to your policy, repaying the loan, keeping the money in your family, keeping the money in your control. Now that sounds a lot better, doesn't it? Because you got no leakage there. All right, so it's battle royale time. It's IBC versus 529s. First line of defense, flexibility. 529 plans and Coverdell ESA plans, they are restricted to educational expenses, and penalties, penalties will apply for non-educational uses. So if your kids wanna go off and learn how to be a professional surfer, they wanna go to a snowboard camp, I'm being biased, then your 529 plan or Coverdell, yeah, it can't fund those. But your IBC policy can. Because the infinite banking concept, along with that specially designed whole life policy, has zero restrictions on how those funds are used. Total flexibility, and it doesn't matter if it's being used for education, K through 12 stuff, you have total control. Investment options. You see those 529 plans and those Coverdell ESA plans, yes, they have investment options, but yes, they are limited by the particular plan. I know in New York, it used to be Vanguard, and in the 529 plan, yes, you had a bunch of Vanguard funds you could invest in, but I couldn't go outside of what was being offered, so I was restricted. Within the IBC policy, you have no restrictions, because remember, the policy, the specially designed whole life, it is not the and or asset. So what do I mean by that? You don't put the money into the whole life or put the money into the investments. You put the money into the whole life and you then invest that money and you make money twice instead of once. Not trying to be biased here, but that sure sounds better than that 529 plan because I like my money working for me and making money twice on the same dollars. And I know for a fact, your 529 plan can't do that. And also, the policy has no contribution limits or withdrawal limits. The infinite banking policies, yep, no contribution limits, no withdrawal limits, no conditions. Whatever you want to put into it, we build the policy to do that. Whatever you want to take out, as long as you got the cash value, all good. Tax benefits. 529 plans and Coverdell ESA plans. Now, with those, the contributions are not tax deductible. But the earnings and the withdrawals, as long as used for qualified educational expenses, are tax-free. And if you do it within your state, like a state sanctioned plan, you get a state tax deduction. Now that's pretty cool. The infinite banking policies. Now, the money you put in there potentially grows tax-free within the policy. The loans can be used generally tax-free as long as it's built right, but you're not gonna get any state tax deductibility. Loan flexibility, I hit this earlier, but let's hit it again. 529 plans and Coverdell ESA plans, they are not designed to be borrowed against. Oh, no, you must withdraw the funds as it's needed and for qualified expenses, as I mentioned before. But once it's gone, it's gone. The infinite banking policies, you can borrow against the cash value. It's kind of like providing you a revolving line of credit. You take the money out, you put the money back in. You take the money out, you put the money back in. Oh, and you get paid the whole time. Asset protection, let's hit this one really quick. 529 plans and Coverdell ESA plans, they have limited to no asset protection against creditors. Zero. Now that sucks. Now in most jurisdictions, The cash value and the death benefit are protected from creditors. Sounds a lot better there. How about estate planning, right? Everybody wants to do some estate planning. 529 plans and Coverdell ESA plans, the accounts can be transferred to a family member, but they are not designed for estate planning. But the infinite banking concept, along with the specially designed whole life, well, it's life insurance. And the life insurance component allows for a death benefit, and that death benefit is allowed to pass on to whoever you want. That adds a whole nother layer of estate planning. Let's talk about financial aid impact. This is a huge one, so pay attention. The 529 plans and the Coverdell ESA plans, both of those plans, those assets are considered when evaluating financial aid eligibility. So if you got a bunch of money in a 529, it's gonna hurt you when getting financial aid. Now, how about the whole life policy? Nope, not counted as an asset in federal financial aid calculations. So you could have millions of dollars in the whole life and it isn't gonna hurt you for getting financial aid. So what do you think at this point? Is the 529 plan worth it? Or should you start a policy and start using the infinite banking concept? Why don't you comment below? Well, at this point, you're probably wondering,
well, I don't know.
Well, let me tell you, yes. The answer is yes. The infinite banking concept can be used for a multitude of financing needs. It can be used for college planning, K through 12 planning. Heck, if they want to go to surf camp, it'll fund that too. If this piques your interest, then you don't want to miss this video right here, how to design an IBC policy, and that's the updated one. So if you've enjoyed this content, well then click that subscribe button. And right above, hit that little notification bell, smash that bell so that you're notified the next time we put out a video so that you can be ready to be in control of your money and, well, your kids' college funding. See you next time.